Would you look at that? You're finally awake. I was beginning to think my men had hit you on the head too hard. We wouldn't want to rattle your precious clever brain more than necessary, now would we? Now, no need to get jumpy. So far, you're perfectly safe. But rest assured, that can change. Very quickly. Got it? Good. See, you might recognize my face from the council meeting a few moons ago. But even if you don't, it doesn't really matter. I certainly noticed you, but there's no guarantee you noticed me. As much as I would consider myself to be memorable, not everyone has taste. I am oft enough overlooked by any who catch my eye. And either way, it's not important. Because right now, you, my love, are leverage. That's right. Looks like you're finally beginning to grasp the situation. You can thank your father for it, really. That treacherous bastard thought he could get around his end of the deal, so now this is his final warning. You may call it petty revenge, but I simply call it returning the favor. That doesn't mean I'm obligated to keep you alive, though. Your death would serve as a nice little reminder as to who he's tangled with. My generosity is the only reason you are still breathing. I can be a gentle captor when the mood takes me. If the mood takes me. If a captive so perfect as you falls into my lap. But take care. The sweet turns easily bitter if I am displeased. So if I were you, I'd behave. Good hostages live longer, love. Take it to heart. And again, nobody said you wouldn't get hurt. I may be beautiful, but don't be fooled, love. I'm the devil in disguise. I've hurt people for far less. I wouldn't stop even at so pretty a face as yours. In the end, they all bleed the same, love. You'd be lucky to survive your stay here. Many before you didn't. See, my father isn't really a good man, so he has no shortage of enemies. And neither do I. Can you imagine how many traitors I have to deal with? How many people think betraying me is acceptable? Under different circumstances, we'd pay them a visit personally and refrain from pulling others into it. But this time was a bit different. You see, your father declared war on us, and taking him would have been so much more difficult than taking you. He also has enough men to replace him to go through with the plan in his stead. So, next best solution. Take something he can't just replace and go on without. His favorite child and heir to the throne. Oh, it's obvious you're his favorite. You're intelligent, brave, and quite the looker, frankly. Even had I not been on the lookout for useful political pawns, I would have noticed you. Ever so clever, so impossibly lovely, courageous as a lion. Your father always speaks so highly of you whenever your name is mentioned. How could I not notice you above all others? I'm not even sure whether you have siblings at all. That's how focused your father is on you. You must be really special, love. Oh, I suppose I'll have to find out for myself what you're capable of. Wouldn't it just be such a shame if this were the end of your story? The two of us could still have a lot of fun if you play your cards right. Meaning you don't act up and behave. As a royal descendant, I'm safe to assume you know how to do that? It's upsetting how many peasants don't. But you're better than that, aren't you? Otherwise, I'll have to, force your respect. And you surely won't enjoy that, love. Or, maybe you will. Maybe you'll enjoy subjugation at my feet. You wouldn't be the first powerful person to secretly desire submission at the hands of a soft captor with a velvet rope. A relief from all your responsibilities. Tasks wrested from your hands by one willing to do them for you. But now that the formalities are out of the way, I do plan on being at least somewhat of a decent host. You are free to move about in my quarters, but don't even think about escaping. I captured you. You belong to me, to do with as I see fit. And what I see fit to do with you is up to you, isn't it? I have guards stationed at every possible exit of this room, and the windows have bars, as you can clearly see. This is a gilded prison, but a prison nonetheless. You would do well to remember it. Don't try to butter up any of the guards or servants either. All of them have been tested on their loyalty and know not to intervene. After having to clean up the remains of other traitors, most of them have learned to stay in line. If you so much as attempt to befriend anyone here, I will serve their head to you on a platter, love. So tread carefully. You are mine and mine alone. I am your warden. No other will connect with you or show you mercy. And we wouldn't want anyone having to suffer because of you, now would we? You don't want to be responsible for that. Well then, love, make yourself at home. If you're nice and agreeable, maybe we'll even serve you lunch later. You must be starving after all this trouble. It's not every day you get kidnapped by guards of the rivaling kingdom to prevent an unnecessary war. I may be a vile creature, but even I do not condone that kind of savagery. Torture is one thing, but such indiscriminate brutality is simply boring. Pain is like a blade, love. Used strategically, it can slice through enemies and leave the survivors trembling in terror. On the other hand, simply swinging it around with brute force, you end up either barely leaving a scratch on your opponent's armor, or in a bloodbath. Both of which entirely fail the purpose of such a finely crafted weapon. Handling a blade is a form of art, too. It's a carefully choreographed dance. And so is manipulation and punishment, love. You always have to decide which step to take next to get your desired outcome. What would be too little? What would be too much? It's a fine balance between respect and rebellion. But you wouldn't know of such things, would you? You're too kind, too good. You aren't a true leader yet. You simply let your father do as he pleases. You don't even seem as though you care about politics at all. Even at the conference, you barely interacted with anyone. You didn't meet my gaze once throughout the entirety of it. It's a shame, really. If you'd been more open, perhaps the two of us could have become allies and it wouldn't have come this far. Two kindred souls, overshadowed by their terrible fathers. We might have made a good pair. But now it's too late for that. You had your chance and decided to let it pass. just another pretty face to be forgotten within an instant. With me, the two of us could have left a lasting impression on this forsaken world. I know I still will. How cute! Did you believe that? Oh, you should have seen the look on your face. How pathetic to think I would share with you. You aren't that important. I wouldn't let you become that important. You're no different than 1,000 other pawns I've had in my grasp. No different at all. Go cry about it. Your life will be a waste of time and space, just as your father's. You couldn't convince me to join with you, not even if you did turn those pretty eyes on me and told me I was the only thing that mattered. And no, to me, you will be merely an inconvenience. The both of you. Well, too bad for you, isn't it, love? I'll be looking forward to your madness unfolding, as you spend the next weeks isolated, only with me to keep you company whenever I please. Try not to get too excited. It's my job to torture you, after all. Be that mentally or physically. I'll have my fun either way. But enough for now. I'll have more than enough time to enjoy your delightful facial expressions later. And trust me, I'll be getting everything I want out of you, once I actually try. Where do you think you're going, love? Here I am on my way to grab you a treat from the kitchen out of the kindness of my heart, and I find you doing what exactly outside my quarters? I don't remember giving you permission to walk around freely. Surely you're not trying to escape, are you? Otherwise, I may have to get a bit rougher with you. If that had been your plan all along, you could have simply asked, love. Oh, no, you're not. You're staying right here, love. I told you, I'm not letting you go. But it seems as though I might have to have a stern word with one of my guards, don't you think? It's obvious you had a helping hand somewhere within my castle walls. Surely you're not trying to convince me the doors unlocked themselves. Either way, you're coming with me now. And don't even try to struggle. I've had enough of your foolery. If you disobey me anymore, I won't be very gentle. I can promise you that much, love. So be good now, and keep up. This is the reason I can't trust people. You were behaving so well. I was even willing to get you a treat. I was going out of my way to give you something nice. Rather than sending a servant, I was even willing to get it myself, to serve you, to show you mercy. Perhaps even a crumb of affection. That's how good you were. But of course you had to act up. Of course you can't just accept that this is best for all involved. Of course now I'm the bad one. So terrible for kidnapping you and keeping you fed and comfortable and giving you companionship. Nobody ever sees the bigger picture. Look at it this way. In the time you've been here, who's gotten hurt, The war was laid off just as I planned. And had you behaved better, not even you would have had to endure any pain. Your disrespect, however, has more than earned you this treatment. You could just as well have been a good little royal hostage, and I would have gladly been more hospitable to you. But no! You had to be stubborn. You just had to try and escape. Do you really think I'm enjoying this? Do you think I like having people betray me? Having to sanction them? You brought this upon yourself, love. And there is nobody but you to blame. Ah, here we are again. Your gilded prison that you don't appreciate. I could have kept you in the dungeons instead, you know. With the rats, giving you nothing but bread and water. I bet you'd have quickly grown to love my company then. Now hold still. It looks like simply locking you in wasn't enough. I'd hoped these wouldn't be necessary. But it looks like you're no better than any peasant when it comes to behaving. These chains have been crafted by the best smiths in the lands. Nothing can break them, and only I have the key. Now you can sweet-talk the guards all you want. Nobody will break you out of these. Oh? Careful now. They're pretty tight. If you keep struggling like that, you might cut off your circulation. And we wouldn't want that, now would we? My chains suit you. I should have put them on you sooner. Then again, I hoped you would be better at following simple instructions, love. I was trying to be a good host, to welcome you into my castle, to make you feel at home. But as it turns out, you're just an ungrateful little brat, needing to be put on a leash like a common dog. Well, if you want to behave like a caged animal, I'll make sure you have a reason to, love. Be grateful I'm even letting you stay in my quarters. I could have very well placed you in a dark, clammy cell, or locked you in my torture chambers. But I decided to be kind. I'm letting you stay in my bedroom. I would have been willing to welcome you to my bed, even if it's improper. Instead, you sleep on my warm rugs. Quite an improvement over the rough, freezing stone floors. I even gave you a pillow, love. Don't I indulge you? You're getting quite the special treatment in comparison to my prior guests. You should consider yourself lucky. You're still alive, after all. And I haven't even broken any of your bones yet. You're in rather good shape for having spent multiple days in my company. If I'd been cruel, I would have simply taken your ability to walk. That, for certain, would have saved me the trouble of you trying to run away. You wouldn't have been able to leave me then. But since you're an important guest of mine, I decided to take a more civilized approach. All I expect in return is a little forthcoming from you. Kind conversation occasionally. Perhaps. This may not be what you're used to, but trust me, love. It's infinitely better than what I normally do. Had I treated you like any other traitor, your frail, royal little body wouldn't have been able to take it. You'd have broken after only a few hours. You're weak, love. Treated with silken gloves all your royal life. When the crown inevitably went to you, you'd have been a fool of a ruler. A pathetic little excuse of a monarch. Consider this as me doing you a favor. Have you ever even felt hunger before? That burning sensation in the pit of your stomach? So intense you feel like fainting. all your senses losing grip on reality, as your memory goes blurry and you almost forget who you even are. Have you ever been locked up and forced to sleep on stone? Felt a cold so freezing it almost seemed like it was coming from inside of you? You noble bastards don't even know how well off you are. If I had to grow up shut off from the world, hidden away for nobody to find out about the king's bastard, then so will you. I want to watch you crumble beneath even a fraction of the pain I've felt. You'll know what it's like to be disregarded, hated, experience that rough thirst, like sand in your throat. You'll see what it's like to starve, to feel filthy, lonely, loathed, where only the diseased rats in the cellars are your companions and the dirt around you is your home. You, my love, will suffer in so many ways. And then you'll appreciate how kind I am. And I promise you, if you get out of here alive, you'll be stronger for it. I'll have shaped you into a true leader, someone who has felt pain, bitterness, and torture. Go ahead, love. Thank me for it. Thank me for turning you into a ruler worthy of taking my Or curse me, if that makes you feel any better. I couldn't care less. In the end, you're utterly meaningless to me. Just another nuisance in my way. Who in the hell do you even think you are? To try and escape me? To reject me? To reject my kindness, my mercy, my gentleness? Oh, darling, from now on, I'll be making sure you know exactly where you stand.